Relationships often begin with radiant hope, filled with tenderness, laughter, and shared dreams. But one of the greatest enigmas of human connection lies in how, after months or even years of seeming bliss, one partner may suddenly harden, withdrawing warmth and replacing it with coldness or even aggression. This shift from intimacy to distance can be as bewildering as it is painful. Partners who once seemed inseparable become emotionally unavailable or hostile, their affection replaced by neglect or even contempt. The joyful closeness that once defined their bond dissolves, leaving confusion, hurt, and questions in its wake. This transformation often manifests as one partner prioritizing solitude or social interactions outside the relationship, sometimes indulging in flirtations with strangers or spending increasing time away with friends. The partner left behind is understandably hurt, struggling to grasp what caused the sudden emotional withdrawal. They may wonder, did I do something wrong? Was I not enough? Did I fail to meet expectations? The mind naturally seeks explanations, sometimes blaming themselves for the change in behavior, fearing that punishment or retribution for some fault lies behind the coldness. This self-doubt and search for reasons are common in couples facing such challenges. The afflicted partner may obsessively review past actions, replay conversations, or scrutinize their behavior for signs of failure. They may ask themselves if they should have been more attentive, more loving, or less demanding. The anguish of feeling rejected by someone they love is compounded by the uncertainty of why this rejection has come. Yet, the truth behind this perplexing behavioral shift is often far more complex, nuanced, and painful than it appears. In many cases, the partner who withdraws or becomes harsh is not reacting out of justified anger or disappointment over the other's shortcomings. Rather, their aggression is an unconscious response to something deeper and less obvious. The partner is punishing the very things that signify kindness, loyalty, and love. Paradoxically, the gentleness, faithfulness, and enduring care of the loving partner can become a source of pain, triggering defensive reactions. The more one partner shows warmth and steadiness, the more the other may recoil, becoming distant or even cruel. This contradiction baffles many. How can goodness itself provoke hostility? The answer lies hidden in the intricate workings of the human psyche, particularly in the echoes of early childhood experiences. Psychological research and clinical observations reveal that such reactions often stem from unresolved childhood trauma, especially wounds inflicted by caregivers who were neglectful, abusive, or inconsistent in their love. The loving kindness of the partner, instead of soothing these old wounds, inadvertently activates buried resentments and rage. This dynamic can be understood through the lens of attachment theory and trauma psychology. When a child experiences abandonment, neglect, or emotional unavailability from their primary caregivers, they develop internal working models of relationships characterized by fear, mistrust, and insecurity. As adults, these internal models influence how they perceive and respond to intimacy and love. The safe, nurturing behavior of a partner may be misinterpreted as threatening because it contrasts sharply with the pain and neglect they expect. Their defensive reactions serve as protective mechanisms, attempts to keep emotional pain at bay by rejecting or punishing love. In this light, the partner's aggression is not truly about the present circumstances, but is a reenactment of past suffering. The kind partner's unwavering devotion forces the wounded partner to confront feelings they cannot easily express or resolve. Accepting love requires vulnerability, a difficult and terrifying prospect for someone whose early attachments taught them that love is unreliable or painful. Hence, the gentleness of the loving partner becomes a mirror reflecting the unresolved trauma within the other. Their kindness threatens to unravel the carefully constructed emotional defenses that shield them from pain. In retaliation, they lash out, not because their partner deserves it, but because the presence of love intensifies the latent anguish. This phenomenon is not limited to romantic relationships. It is dramatically visible in the context of adoptive families. Adopted children, many of whom have experienced early abandonment or trauma, often exhibit behaviors that perplex and distress their adoptive parents. Studies consistently show that the more affectionate and supportive the adoptive family is, the greater the likelihood of rebellious or challenging behavior during adolescence. These children may steal, vandalize property, engage in loud confrontations, or openly reject their adoptive parents with harsh words. For many adoptive parents, these behaviors feel like personal failures. They agonize over what they did wrong or how they might fix the fractures in their family. But, paradoxically, the answer is that the parents often have done nothing wrong. The pain and rebellion stem not from their deficiencies but from the child's deep-seated trauma. The safe and loving environment exposes the child's unprocessed grief and anger. The adoptive parents become unwilling recipients of emotional pain meant for absent or neglectful biological parents. This heartbreaking paradox illustrates a profound psychological truth. True safety and love can unearth pain that has long been suppressed. The protective barriers built over years crumble in the face of genuine care, allowing suffering to surface in painful ways. Similarly, in adult romantic relationships, the hidden emotional wounds of childhood may drive destructive patterns. Behind every argument, every disappointing event, every emotional withdrawal lies a plea. Where were you when I needed you? How can you be so kind to me when I've only known cruelty? How do I accept this love without reliving old pain? These internal conflicts often manifest as self-sabotage or attempts to push the partner away. The person may not intend to hurt their loved one but feels overwhelmed by the unfamiliar experience of being cared for and struggles to reconcile it with their internalized trauma. The path toward healing these wounds is complex and requires deep insight and compassion. Both partners must cultivate awareness of the underlying pain driving destructive behaviors. Boundaries become essential, not to punish, but to protect and create a space for safe interaction. Compassion for oneself and the other partner fosters patience and resilience. Therapy and reflective work can help the wounded partner understand and integrate their trauma, gradually learning to receive love without fear. Over time, this process may culminate in a transformative moment of clarity and gratitude, a recognition of the love that endured despite the pain. One day, perhaps long after the relationship has changed or ended, the hurting partner may say, "Thank you for your kindness that stirred my rage and pain. I am sorry for trying to destroy you with my fear and anger. I never wanted to harm you. I just didn't know how to face the pain inside me." This poignant acknowledgement honors both the resilience of love and the complex, often hidden struggles that shape human connection. The psychological dynamics that cause a partner to respond to kindness with cruelty or withdrawal become starkly visible in the realm of adoptive families. These families offer an illuminating lens through which to understand how trauma rooted in early childhood can shape emotional responses to love and safety, even when it is abundant and unconditional. Adoptive parents often enter their roles with high hopes and hearts full of love. They imagine providing a safe haven for children who have faced abandonment, neglect, or loss, believing that their care and commitment can heal old wounds. Yet, despite their dedication, many adoptive families encounter a painful paradox. The more loving and supportive they are, the more challenging and rebellious the child becomes. This pattern baffles many parents who find themselves bewildered by behaviors that seem to contradict the nurturing environment they provide. Adolescents raised in these families may engage in destructive actions such as stealing from their caregivers, defacing property by scrawling graffiti or damaging walls, and engaging in frequent, intense arguments. They might shout, curse, and declare vehement hatred toward the very people who have opened their homes and hearts to them. These rebellious outbursts often escalate to dramatic exits, storming out of the house, slamming doors, and spending long hours away from the family. Such episodes leave adoptive parents feeling helpless, asking themselves the anguished question, "What have we done to deserve this? Why is our love met with such hostility?" The answer, though difficult to accept, is that the parents have done nothing wrong. Their love, patience, and kindness are not the causes of the child's rebellion. In fact, it is precisely this love that triggers the child's unresolved emotional turmoil. The child is not rejecting the adoptive parents personally, but rather the painful feelings associated with their early experiences of abandonment or neglect. Many adopted children come from backgrounds marked by significant trauma, early separations from biological parents, unstable caregiving, or environments lacking emotional attunement. These adverse experiences create deep psychological wounds and attachment disruptions. The children often carry unconscious expectations of betrayal, rejection, or harm in close relationships. When an adoptive family offers consistent love, safety, and support, it paradoxically challenges these expectations. The kindness that should bring comfort instead awakens buried fears and resentment. The children's emotional defenses, which once protected them from pain, now perceive this love as a threat, triggering a defensive response: rebellion, anger, and rejection. This phenomenon aligns with attachment theory, which explains how early experiences with caregivers shape a child's expectations and behaviors in relationships throughout life. Children with histories of trauma may develop anxious, avoidant, or disorganized attachment styles, making it difficult for them to trust or accept love. The very presence of dependable care can feel overwhelming and provoke behaviors aimed at pushing others away before they can be hurt. In this context, the seemingly inexplicable hostility is actually a manifestation of unprocessed grief and pain. The adopted child's actions are cries for help, albeit expressed through anger and defiance. The adoptive parents therefore become unwitting recipients of a trauma that is not their own, but has been inherited through the child's life story. This reality poses an enormous challenge for adoptive families. The parents must reconcile their desire to nurture with the experience of being rejected. They must navigate a complex emotional landscape where their love is met with resistance and sometimes outright hostility. The pain is compounded by feelings of failure, helplessness, and confusion. Yet, this dynamic also holds the potential for profound healing. The adoptive family's consistent presence and care create a unique environment where trauma can slowly be confronted and worked through. The love offered, while initially met with rejection, is the very foundation upon which eventual recovery can be built. Therapeutic interventions often focus on supporting both the child and the parents. Trauma-informed care recognizes that the child's behavioral challenges are symptoms of deeper psychological wounds. Therapy aims to build trust, teach emotional regulation, and develop secure attachments. For parents, counseling can provide strategies to maintain boundaries, foster empathy, and sustain hope through difficult periods. Moreover, this pattern observed in adoptive families mirrors similar dynamics in adult romantic relationships, albeit often in more subtle or disguised ways. The pain of childhood trauma reverberates through time, influencing how individuals relate to love and care. Understanding these patterns can empower partners to navigate challenges with insight rather than blame. Recognizing that harsh or rejecting behavior often masks a desperate longing for connection shifts the narrative from judgment to compassion. It calls for patience and a commitment to stay present even when love is met with pain. The path is neither simple nor quick, but it is one that holds the promise of transformation. Ultimately, the paradox of love in adoptive families, and by extension in intimate relationships, reveals a fundamental truth about human connection. Love can both wound and heal. When love provokes pain, it is often because it pierces through the defenses built by past suffering. The journey through this pain requires courage, resilience, and above all, an unwavering belief in the possibility of renewal. Adult romantic relationships often present themselves as mature, conscious partnerships grounded in mutual respect and affection. Yet, beneath this surface, the complex legacy of childhood trauma and attachment wounds can continue to shape behaviors in profound ways. The psychological dynamics that drive children in adoptive families to rebel and resist often echo silently in adult couples, manifesting in subtle yet deeply painful patterns. When one partner's love and kindness are met not with warmth but with resistance, distance, or even hostility, it can feel inexplicable and devastating. Unlike the overt rebellion seen in adolescent adoptive children, adults may express their inner turmoil through quieter, more ambiguous means. Sulking, silent withdrawal, irritability, or seemingly minor acts of disregard. These behaviors are often baffling to the loving partner, who may feel rejected without understanding why. Beneath these surface behaviors lies a core emotional conflict. The partner who pushes away love is frequently wrestling with internalized messages from childhood that love is unsafe, unreliable, or painful. The kindness they receive confronts them with vulnerability they are ill-equipped to handle. It awakens fears of abandonment, rejection, or betrayal that have never been fully healed. Consider a couple who, after several years of apparent harmony, begin to experience increasing friction. One partner might start to dismiss or belittle the other's gestures of affection, showing impatience or annoyance at efforts to connect. Invitations to spend quality time together may be met with excuses or avoidance. Compliments are deflected or ignored. These changes can feel like a slow erosion of the relationship's foundation. Such behaviors are not mere acts of spite. They are defensive mechanisms that serve to protect the individual from perceived emotional danger. Accepting love, especially when one's earliest experiences taught mistrust, requires dismantling long-held protective walls. This process is frightening and often resisted subconsciously. Moreover, the partner acting out may not fully recognize their own motives or pain. Their behavior can be fragmented and contradictory, alternating between moments of warmth and withdrawal, affection and hostility. This push-pull dynamic creates confusion and instability, making it difficult for both partners to maintain connection. The loved one on the receiving end often experiences bewilderment, hurt, and frustration. They may interpret the behavior as rejection or lack of love, leading to feelings of inadequacy or blame. Attempts to communicate or address the issues can escalate tensions, as the defensive partner interprets these efforts as threats or demands. This intricate emotional dance is fueled by unspoken questions haunting the hurt partner's inner world. Where were you when I was alone? Why do you treat me this way when all I want is closeness? How can I trust love after so much pain? These questions shape the destructive patterns, yet remain largely invisible to both parties. Psychologically, these behaviors can be understood through the concept of disorganized attachment, where the individual simultaneously desires connection and fears it. The trauma-informed perspective emphasizes that the partner's resistance to love is not a rejection of the person, but of the vulnerability that love requires. The anger and withdrawal are expressions of overwhelming fear and confusion. Recognizing this complexity allows couples to move beyond blame toward empathy. It opens the door to healing conversations where both partners acknowledge their fears and needs. Communication styles that prioritize safety, patience, and non-judgment become vital tools. Therapeutic approaches such as emotionally focused therapy, EFT, or trauma-informed couples counseling provide structured environments to explore these dynamics. They help partners identify and articulate underlying emotions, break destructive cycles, and build secure attachment bonds. For the partner struggling with receiving love, therapy can offer new ways to process past traumas, develop emotional regulation skills, and learn to tolerate vulnerability. For the loving partner, therapy can provide strategies for setting healthy boundaries, managing their own emotional responses, and sustaining hope amidst challenges. Healing is rarely linear. Progress may be punctuated by setbacks, misunderstandings, and renewed fears. Yet, the commitment to understanding and compassion can transform the relationship into a space where love is not a threat, but a source of strength. Every argument, every moment of withdrawal, every broken promise may mask a plea for reassurance. Please don't leave me. Please don't hurt me. Please love me despite my flaws. The silent battles fought within the wounded partner's heart are as fierce and vital as any overt conflict. Ultimately, the journey toward acceptance and intimacy demands courage from both partners. It involves facing the shadows of the past while daring to build a future grounded in trust and care. When achieved, this transformation is profoundly liberating, turning pain into connection and fear into safety. The paradox remains. Love, while a source of healing, can also trigger the deepest fears. But within that paradox lies hope, that through understanding, patience, and grace, even the most wounded hearts can learn to accept and give love freely. Behind the most turbulent conflicts in relationships often lies a silent, powerful cry, a desperate, incoherent plea for acknowledgement and connection. Every broken promise, every ruined celebration, every moment of emotional withdrawal can be seen as an expression of a deeper inner struggle. The partner who acts out destructively may appear to reject love, but beneath this surface lies an essential yearning. Where were you when I needed you most? Why is love so hard to accept after a lifetime of pain? This hidden pain reflects the enduring scars left by childhood trauma, scars that shape how individuals perceive and experience intimacy. The cruel irony is that the very love offered to heal these wounds can initially intensify feelings of vulnerability and fear. For those who have never truly felt safe, kindness can feel foreign, even threatening. Psychologists have long studied this phenomenon, identifying how early adverse experiences create complex emotional legacies. These legacies include patterns of mistrust, fear of abandonment, and difficulties with emotional regulation. When faced with genuine care, the brain's protective mechanisms may trigger defensive responses designed to prevent further hurt. Unfortunately, these defenses often manifest as aggression, withdrawal, or self-sabotage, behaviors that paradoxically push away the very love that could provide healing. Understanding this dynamic requires enormous compassion, not only for the person exhibiting difficult behaviors but also for their partner who experiences rejection and pain. Compassion in this context means recognizing that destructive actions are not intentional attacks but manifestations of unresolved trauma and fear. Yet compassion alone is insufficient. Boundaries become essential tools for maintaining safety and well-being within the relationship. Clear boundaries help both partners understand acceptable behaviors and create a container where healing can occur. Without such limits, chaos and emotional exhaustion may dominate, preventing growth and connection. Therapeutic interventions that integrate trauma-informed approaches offer hope and guidance. Emotionally focused therapy, EFT, internal family systems, IFS, and other modalities provide frameworks for partners to explore their emotional landscapes safely. Therapy encourages vulnerable dialogue, helps identify destructive patterns, and fosters the development of secure attachment bonds. For the partner who struggles with accepting love, therapy can teach skills for emotional regulation and self-compassion. It helps dismantle the fearful narratives around intimacy, enabling the individual to gradually trust and embrace connection. For the loving partner, therapy can support resilience, boundary setting, and the cultivation of empathy without self-sacrifice. Healing is a nonlinear journey marked by progress and setbacks. It demands patience, courage, and an unwavering commitment to growth. Within this process lies the potential for profound transformation, where pain is not erased but integrated, and where love is no longer a source of fear but a sanctuary of safety. Eventually, this journey may culminate in a moment of heartfelt recognition and gratitude. The partner who once lashed out in fear and confusion may find the strength to express, "Thank you for your kindness that exposed my rage and sorrow. I apologize deeply for the pain I caused. I never wanted to hurt you. I was lost in my own suffering." This profound apology is not merely words, it is a testament to the power of love and healing. It acknowledges the paradox that love can both wound and save, that through enduring kindness even the most broken hearts can begin to mend. In the quiet aftermath of this acknowledgement, the angels of compassion and forgiveness seem to weep, not from sorrow, but from the beauty of human resilience. The tears are a tribute to the courage it takes to face one's darkest shadows and to the enduring hope that love can transcend pain. The story of love's paradox, the interplay of kindness and cruelty, trust and fear, reminds us of the fragile complexity of the human heart. It teaches that love is not a simple gift, but a difficult journey through vulnerability, pain, and ultimately, redemption. As we navigate this journey, we learn that true love requires both giving and receiving grace. It calls for patience in the face of pain, courage in confronting the past, and faith in the possibility of renewal. In this light, even the harshest struggles become chapters in a larger story of growth and connection. The path from destruction to gratitude is paved with insight, empathy, and an unyielding commitment to understanding. It invites us to hold space for the imperfect, to embrace the wounded, and to believe that within every act of rejection lies a hidden call for love. In embracing this truth, relationships transform from battlegrounds into sanctuaries, places where wounds are faced with tenderness and where broken hearts are made whole. It is here, in this sacred space, that love reveals its deepest power, not to avoid pain, but to redeem.